Did you go by the village of Kimpton?
I don't recollect that we...
Oh, I mention it because it was the living I should have had.
In Pride and Prejudice, Mr. George Wickham enters as a charming and likeable character, but is he really a hero? In this video, I want to explore Wickham's transformation from a seemingly noble figure into a self-serving antagonist. I want to try and uncover his hidden motives, his rivalry with Darcy, and the consequences of his actions. Judging from the comments in my video about Lydia, many of you have already shared your thoughts on Wickham, his choices, and the eventual outcome. So hopefully I'll try and cover some of those points in this video, so stick with me as I delve into Wickham's deceptive charm and his role in Jane Austen's classic novel. From the moment that we meet Wickham, he seems to be the perfect gentleman. His charm, good looks, and easy manners make him instantly likeable. Even Elizabeth Bennet, our strong-willed and sharp-eyed protagonist, is drawn to him. The Meryton community quickly embraces him, and he effortlessly gains their sympathy when he shares a story of his supposed mistreatment by Darcy.
And the living he had promised me fell vacant. The son refused, point blank, to honour his father's promises.
Wickham's first impression is one of openness and honesty. He presents himself as the wronged party and Darcy as the arrogant and unjust man who deprived him of a living. And this narrative fits perfectly into Elizabeth's existing prejudice against Darcy, making Wickham even more appealing. He seems the classic romantic hero, a wronged and noble man. As Wickham continues to ingratiate himself into Elizabeth's life, he plays the part of an interesting young man, in fact, a potential romantic lead. He is charismatic and confident, and he doesn't shy away from telling Elizabeth about the intimate details of his life, as well as Darcy's supposed betrayal. To Elizabeth, Wickham is everything Darcy is not: warm, friendly, and relatable. His ability to play the victim is key to his appeal. Elizabeth, having already judged Darcy harshly, accepts Wickham's account without question. It's this initial charm and manipulation that make him such an intriguing character. But as we know, there's far more to Wickham than meets the eye. So at the beginning of Pride and Prejudice, Wickham is positioned as a potential protagonist. If you're new to the story and you've never seen any of the productions, his charm and apparent openness make him seem like the ideal romantic interest for Elizabeth, especially in contrast to Darcy's aloofness. For a time, it's easy to see Wickham as a sympathetic figure, a victim of circumstance and Darcy's cruelty. But as the story progresses, Wickham's true nature emerges as his actions, particularly his manipulation of Elizabeth and his lies about Darcy, show that he's far from the hero he first appeared to be. This shift in his character marks the beginning of his transformation into a revealed antagonist. One of the pivotal moments in Wickham's arc is his conversation with Elizabeth, where he confides in her about his past with Darcy. Now here, Wickham claims that Darcy deprived him of a valuable living that he'd been promised to by Darcy's father. This, he says, is why he harbours resentment towards Darcy. It's a powerful story, and one that perfectly plays into Elizabeth's own biases. This scene is crucial because it deepens Elizabeth's prejudice against Darcy, clouding her judgment even further. Wickham's manipulation is subtle but effective. He knows how to play the victim to win sympathy and uses it to turn Elizabeth further against Darcy. Now, a comment was left suggesting that Wickham might have been the bastard son of the late Mr. Darcy. I'll put the comment on the screen here. Now, I've not considered this possibility before, and if it were the case, it would add just that more intrigue into the relationship between Darcy and Wickham. Now, as we know, Wickham's carefully crafted image begins to unravel after Darcy's letter to Elizabeth. In the letter, Darcy reveals the truth, that Wickham had attempted to elope with Darcy's sister, Georgiana, in order to gain her fortune. This revelation shocks Elizabeth, forcing her to reconsider everything she thought she knew about Wickham. It's an interesting juxtaposition because I see it as Elizabeth being both angry at Darcy and also grieved for him all at the same time. She's torn now because she is fully aware of Darcy's involvement in keeping Jane and Bingley apart, but she's now seeing the other side of the story concerning Darcy and Wickham. When Darcy explains that in his letter that Colonel Fitzwilliam can vouch for the validity of the truth, she seems to be persuaded that Darcy's account is in fact the truth, and that Wickham has been playing her and everyone else along. And so the revelations in Darcy's letter mark a turning point in the novel. Wickham's true nature is exposed, and his charm and likability were merely tools for manipulation. His deception had far-reaching consequences, particularly for Elizabeth's understanding of Darcy and herself. Wickham's transformation from a charming young man to an antagonist becomes clear. His manipulation of Elizabeth and the Meryton community reveals him as someone who thrives on deceit. He was never the hero he seemed to be. In fact, his actions have been motivated purely by self-interest. In this way, Wickham embodies one of the key themes of the novel, the dangers of judging people based on first impressions. He is the perfect example of the appearance versus reality, while Darcy, who seemed proud and distant, is proven to be honourable. Wickham, who seemed charming and likeable, is exposed as self-serving and unscrupulous. Just off the top of my head, wasn't the original draft title of Pride and Prejudice going to be called First Impressions? And drop me a comment. I could look it up, but yeah. So Wickham's elopement with Lydia is the most serious scandal in the novel. By running off with a young girl, Wickham puts not only Lydia's reputation at risk, but also the entire Bennet family's social standing. The potential consequences of his actions are devastating, and yet, true to his character, Wickham shows little concern for the impact of his behaviour. His elopement with Lydia could have easily led to her ruin, but Wickham's selfishness blinds him to the gravity of the situation. His motives are clear. He seeks money, status, and an easy way out, without caring who gets hurt in the process. Wickham's rivalry with Darcy is central to his role as an antagonist. His resentment towards Darcy drives much of his behaviour, from his lies to Elizabeth to his eventual elopement with Lydia. Wickham's actions are not just personal. They appear as a deliberate attempt to undermine Darcy's reputation and disrupt his life. So in many ways, Wickham and Darcy serve as opposites. Wickham represents charm without substance, while Darcy, though initially reserved, reveals his depth and honour over time. Wickham's inability to change or grow really emphasises Darcy's transformation, making Wickham a perfect foil to Darcy. Wickham also fits the classic image of a rake. Charming, seductive, but ultimately selfish and irresponsible. His lack of concern for the consequences of his actions, whether it's his attempted elopement with Georgiana or his actual elopement with Lydia, paints him as a man driven purely by personal gain. Throughout the novel, Wickham operates in the shadows, manipulating situations to his advantage. Unlike Darcy, whose actions are upfront and often misunderstood, Wickham's behaviour is hidden, only coming to light after the damage is done. His true character is not fully revealed until the end of the story, when his actions force others to confront the reality of who he is. Wickham's arc from the potential protagonist to a revealed antagonist highlights one of the novel's central themes, the contrast between appearance and reality. Wickham's outward charm masks a dangerous selfishness, while Darcy's apparent pride conceals a deep integrity. This theme of misjudgment is at the heart of Pride and Prejudice, and Wickham's role is critical in showcasing how easily appearances can deceive. So Wickham serves as a direct foil to Mr. Darcy. While Darcy initially seems proud and aloof and ultimately reveals himself to be honourable and kind, in contrast, Wickham, who seems charming and likeable, is revealed to be self-serving and deceitful. The contrast between these two men is central to the novel's exploration of character and morality. Wickham's role as an antagonist extends beyond his rivalry to Darcy.
Yes, go, go. I would not wish you back again.
He also acts as an obstacle for Elizabeth. By feeding her prejudices against Darcy, Wickham prevents her from seeing the truth for much of the novel. His lies cloud her judgment and delay her eventual realization of Darcy's true character, making Wickham an antagonist not just to Darcy, but to Elizabeth as well. Thankfully, towards the end, Elizabeth becomes fully aware of Wickham's character and is no longer duped by anything he says. George Wickham is more than just a charming scoundrel. He's a mirror reflecting the novel's central themes of appearance versus reality and the consequences of unchecked selfishness. His actions may not dominate the story, but their ripple effects shape the journeys of Elizabeth, Darcy, and even Lydia, making him an essential piece of the narrative. Without Wickham, Pride and Prejudice would lack one of its most compelling contrasts: the moral integrity of Darcy against the hollow charm of Wickham. His presence forces both Elizabeth and Darcy to confront their own prejudices, misunderstandings, and assumptions, ultimately leading them towards greater self-awareness and mutual respect. So that's all for this one. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of Mr. Wickham. If you've enjoyed this analysis, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It just helps the channel grow. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on Wickham. Do you see him as a villain or simply a flawed product of his circumstances? I'd love to hear your perspectives, and I know you'll share them. So until next time, and I'll hopefully not make it as long as I have. It's been over a month since I did the last video. I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.
Let us say not farewell, but as the French have it, au revoir!